How do you pull off a murder in a room that's locked from the inside? Well, today we're going to crack open one of the greatest locked room mysteries ever written. We're using Agatha Christie's very first novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, to really dissect the anatomy of what looks like a perfect crime.
Okay, so the setup here, it seems simple, right? Our victim, Emily Inglethorp, is found dead. The catch? Her bedroom door was bolted from the inside. There are no broken windows, no secret passages, nothing. It's impossible. So the real question isn't just who did it, but how in the world did they do it?
All right, to really get this murder, first, you gotta understand the setting. Styles Court isn't just some big, fancy country house. No, it's more like a pressure cooker of resentment and money problems, and every single person is watching the one woman who controls all the cash.
So at the absolute center of all this tension, you've got Emily Inglethorp. She's the wealthy, 70-year-old matriarch of the family. And then there's her new husband, Alfred, who happens to be a good 20 years younger than her. This marriage has sent shockwaves through the entire house. The family, who have always lived off Emily's money, now see Alfred as more than just an outsider. He is a direct threat to their entire future.
And this is where things get, well, really messy, because pretty much everyone has a reason to want her gone. Alfred, he's the obvious fortune hunter. Her stepsons, John and Lawrence, they're both desperate for money and completely dependent on her. Even John's wife, Mary, has some kind of secret beef with her mother-in-law. You start to see that just about every person under that roof stands to gain something if she dies.
And their older stepson, John Cavendish, he doesn't hold back at all. He basically spells out how the whole family feels about Alfred. They just can't stand him. They see his long beard and his fancy shoes and think he's nothing but a fraud, totally out for their mother's money.
And then, right before the murder, things just go from bad to worse. Evelyn Howard, who was Emily's one true friend and protector, finally confronts her about Alfred, and for her loyalty, she gets thrown out of the house. This leaves Emily totally alone and vulnerable. I mean, it is the perfect storm.
Okay, so all that simmering tension, it finally explodes on the day of the murder, Tuesday, July 17th. The atmosphere in the house becomes absolutely electric as these huge arguments start breaking out, pushing everyone right to the edge.
Just look at how fast everything falls apart. There's this massive fight in the afternoon that leaves Mrs. Inglethorp completely shaken. Not long after that, another heated argument breaks out. By dinner time, the silence in the house is just deafening. She drinks her coffee, goes up to her room, locks the door, and that's the last time anyone sees her alive.
Okay, get this. This one little piece of conversation is so interesting. Mary Cavendish says, "Of course, I might have known you would shield him." Shield who? Alfred? The obvious suspect? Or is there someone else in the shadows that we don't even know about yet?
And you know, this wasn't just some little disagreement. A maid hears Mrs. Inglethorp shouting, "You have lied to me. My mind is made up." Clearly, she discovered some huge betrayal and had made a final, life-changing decision. A decision, it seems, that got her killed.
So the whole house is basically a tinderbox just waiting for a spark, and in the middle of the night, it finally happens. This leads to the discovery of a crime that by all accounts should have been completely impossible.
Seriously, just try to picture it. It's the middle of the night, total chaos. They hear these horrifying sounds coming from a room, but the door is bolted shut. They run to the other connecting doors, also bolted. In a total panic, they have to physically break the door down, only to find Mrs. Inglethorp dying right in front of them.
And right in the middle of all that panic, two things become crystal clear. First, the number one suspect, her husband Alfred, is gone, vanished. And second, with her dying breath, Emily Inglethorp gasps his name. Is she accusing him? Is she calling for help? Who knows? But either way, it looks really, really bad for the missing husband.
So, the doctor shows up and confirms what everyone was afraid of. It was poison. The whole family's in a tailspin, the case looks impossible, and that's when our narrator, Captain Hastings, has this brilliant idea. He remembers an old friend of his, this peculiar Belgian refugee who's living a quiet life in the village.
And this is how we meet the one and only Hercule Poirot. He's not the type to dust for fingerprints or use a magnifying glass. No, his weapons are logic, order, and what he calls his little gray cells. He shows up to find the one fact that just doesn't fit, the tiny detail that everybody else overlooked.
And boom, he finds that one thing right away. The doctor says it was strychnine poisoning, but Mrs. Inglethorp had her coffee around 8 p.m., And the convulsions didn't start until almost 5 in the morning. Strychnine is a fast-acting poison. That 9-hour delay? It's physically impossible. So with just one simple question, Poirot shows everyone that this case is way more complicated than it looks.
So, while everyone else is running around, totally fixated on the missing husband, Poirot just tunes it all out. He starts his calm, methodical search of the crime scene, because he knows the room itself will tell him what really happened.
And what he finds, well, it's not some obvious smoking gun. It's just this weird collection of things that don't seem to have anything to do with each other. A coffee cup that's been smashed into dust. A new coffee stain on the rug. Candle grease from a candle that doesn't even belong in the room. To anybody else, it's just a random mess. But to Poirot, every one of these is a thread he can pull to unravel the whole thing.
Then he moves over to the fireplace and starts carefully sifting through the ashes, and that's when he finds it, a tiny, half-burned piece of paper. He gets out his magnifying glass, and there it is. One clear word: will.
And this changes everything. Poirot confirms it. On the exact same afternoon that she was murdered, Mrs. Inglethorp wrote a brand new will. Someone didn't just break into that locked room to kill her, they broke in to find and destroy that will, to make sure no one would ever know what it said.
So now the whole investigation is basically split down the middle. You've got two competing theories. Was the poison in the coffee she drank at 8 p.m., which seems impossible because of the timeline, or was it in the cocoa she drank hours later? The same cocoa that a maid remembers seeing a strange white powder on, a powder she just brushed off without thinking.
So what are we left with? It's the perfect puzzle, right? A murder in a sealed room, a burned will that makes literally everyone a suspect. In a house where everybody is hiding something, the real question isn't just who the killer is, it's who is the true predator at Styles Port.